This is HR Service Unscripted.
I'm like, curveball.
And it said, hey, AI is not your friend. But they said mainly it's because it doesn't have any genuine empathy or emotions. It can only simulate things. So it doesn't understand what it means to, feel, suffer, experience.
So I went to ChatGPT because I wanted AI's opinion on this.
Oh, nice.
And I asked it, is AI a reliable replacement for HR? Because I am hearing that more and more companies are replacing or limiting their HR based on the availability of AI. So ChatGPT said, short answer, no, AI is not a reliable replacement for HR. It is a powerful enhancement when used correctly. So
Yeah.
it pinpointed some of its shortcomings.
I want to hear
So
them.
HR isn't just a process, it's judgment, trust, and human nuance. Employee relation issues are better suited for human interaction. Cultural building and leadership coaching, better led by humans. Ethical decision making, better off by humans. Reading context, tone, and intent. Legal risk, interpretation, and gray areas. And then there is risk associated with replacing HR with AI, and that includes poor or biased hiring decisions, legal exposure, loss of employee trust, and weak culture and engagement.
I completely agree with everything.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So even AI it believes that AI is not a substitute for good HR.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, I was thinking because it's pulling things that are not up to date. So you're not getting the latest like laws, you're not being compliant with what's latest. And once a law is established, like pretty much it's going to stay like that. Although, things have swung back and forth a lot in the last couple of years. But that's why I never really wanted to rely so heavily on it because I'm like, well, I'm looking at what the, sick leave policy is in Ohio, but it might be giving me data from 2023 and I can't trust that.
Well, and there
Yeah.
are some workarounds as newer versions come out. They are more updated now, and I've learned that I could tell it search the web and it will pull current information.
Mhm.
But what I did find is that it doesn't always interpret it accurately. So sometimes with laws that comes out, it's interpreting them a little off. So I'll have to ask it, can you cite your resource for that? And it'll give a link to maybe a law firm. I was like, no, I'll cite the statute. I want to see the law. Me and ChatGPT get into little toughs from here and there. We argue, we go back and forth. But
One time I did say to it, it gave me like the wrong law about Alabama. I forgot exactly what it was. And I was like, I think you're wrong about Alabama. And it like thought for a little bit. And then it was like, you're right. I'm so sorry.
which is good. It's aware that it's wrong and it'll own up to it. So it's a great trait to have, but it's not
Mhm.
to be completely trusted. You still need that expertise with it.
Agreed.
I mean,
Agreed.
it says it right on there. Like when you ask a question, it says like verify what I'm telling you because I may not be correct. So I feel why are people using it, especially for something as important as employee labor laws? Come on, guys.
And we're starting to see as court cases come out that companies are still have the earnest for whatever decisions they make, even if they use AI in that decision making process. It doesn't waive your liability if AI is biased or not biased or making poor decisions.
Mhm.
You're still liable for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it called? Not like when your ignorance is not
Is
yeah, it's like a legal term where it's like because you're ignorant to it doesn't mean you're not responsible for it.
mhm. I know the term you're referencing, but now that you mentioned it, I can't think of what it is either.
Right. Exactly.
Someone could tell us.
That's right. If someone can tell us, you can email it to us, right?
and
Nice.
I
And on that note, thank you. Have a good.
and I know I talked a lot about the cons of using AI for a replacement, but that doesn't mean it's not helpful still. It still helps us be more efficient. It helps us analyze data a lot quicker, which is helping
Oh.
save money and time. So it does have its place. It needs to be very much so guided.
Mhm.
Well, and I think it's really negative in the media now too, because so many people are, oh, all the big companies are changing. We're laying off 2,000 people because we're using AI to replace them, or we're doing this to replace them. And it doesn't show the whole reason. They just say AI is replacing them, but it's not. That's not quite true. It's fairly true, but you know,
Mhm.
they may have overhired, they may have done this, or just worked themselves out of a job through technology, and it happens. You see that every generation technology takes over, there's a lot of jobs, people change and go back into where the jobs are. So,
Mhm.
what's the old adage? It's not even an old adage. The new adage now is if you don't learn AI, you'll be the one who gets your job replaced by AI.
That makes me feel like I'm like behind the eight ball, like I'm not doing enough with AI. I use it minimally. Once or twice a day I'll use it, but not, it's not like to replace things I do. It's just to kind of maybe get the juices flowing. Like, oh, I want to say this, but I don't,
Hmm.
I know I can be a little aggressive. So like I'll put what I really want to, thoughts are coming into my mind. I'll put it into ChatGPT and I'll be like, can you make this professional and polished? That's how I'm using it. And I'm sure it's not effective.
Well, it definitely helps. And I teach a class at a local shelter on interviewing and interviewing skills and techniques and helping them prep. And one thing I encourage them to do is to use AI to, one, customize their resume for each job description and prep for the interview by asking it potential questions that it could give and potential answers and kind of brainstorm some of that. And every class I get pushback from at least one person, but that isn't that cheating. I don't want to use AI to cheat. And I know employers are scanning for people who use AI. It's like, no, they're not trying to rule out people who use AI. They're ruling out people who use AI badly. Like if you don't go, you customize your resume, but if you don't go through and customize that and make it human and accurate, then yeah, you're going to get weeded out. But if you don't know how to use AI, you're not going to be able to perform because it's getting to the point, or we're going to get to the point to where most roles are incorporating AI in some way, shape, or form. So we need to know how to use it.
Hmm.
And if employers can use AI to screen out resumes, then why can't applicants use AI to create resumes?
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, totally fair. I mean, I guess I just still feel like I'm in the part where, I'm just beginning to use Copilot to make slides for myself. I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of people who are like so much more advanced with AI and how they're using it. And I kind of feel like I'm catching up, but also I'm not in a big rush to learn this. Like I am most efficient as I am now. And as I take time to learn more efficiencies, I will, but I'm not going to spend the next 6 months making myself more efficient. Like I'm not going to pause what I'm doing?
No, and that makes sense. And you're progressing at a natural pace, and you're learning it and you're incorporating it. I will say, since using Copilot for PowerPoint presentations, it would take me 8 to 10 hours to create a good presentation, a customized presentation. Now it takes me maybe 3 to 5.
I
So I'm
agree.
still putting time into it, but I've saved quite a bit of time, which translates into my clients saving money.
Exactly.
I'll have an idea in my mind, like, if you have the document that you want to make the slide deck off of, and I'll be like, okay, I want to have 10 slides because I want to do 5 minutes each slide. It's a 1 hour presentation, leave 10 minutes for questions. Like, I'll do something like that, like make this a 10 slide presentation instead of me being like, okay, what's the and duplicate and this is my title page and duplicate, like instead of doing that, like the nitty gritty stuff.
And I use Copilot Design to make the slides pretty.
Yeah. That part I am very much. I just did it recently with the slide. I forget what it was one that you gave me, and then I needed it to be just like a 3 page. You gave me like a 10 page, and I needed it to be a 3 pager. Liz already did all the work. I just made it into the 3 pages, but it was perfect because all of the design and everything was there. And that was even easy because I then put into Copilot, like, okay, now I need this to be 3 pages and include this and don't include that. It was perfect.
So it can be a huge time saver. It's very beneficial to HR as an enhancement, not a replacement.
Right. Right. If I had taken your slide deck and been like, I want to make this three, slides, and then I would have had to go bit by bit on each piece of information to be like, okay, which one do I want to include in here? But it really, yeah, that one saved me a ton of time.
But then you used it as a tool, so you were fine.
Yeah.
See, you are using AI. Give yourself a little credit.
You're right.
Hmm.
You know what? When I thought about it, you're right. I am using, I forget Copilot is AI.
All right, Dean, how are you using AI?
Yeah, it just depends on the day. Everything you two have just talked about. I use it as a crutch sometimes. Sometimes I'll have just writer's block and just throw a title and say, I need some information on this, and it'll pull out some information and I'll take some keywords and expand on that myself and build. Or if I have something I'm writing, I'm like, this doesn't sound right. Make this sound professional or make this sound less professional. Just have it rewrite a few things for me, then take it from there. I use it mainly, yeah, just usually as a crutch, especially for like a structure of a document.
Mhm.
Make this look professional, make this look whatever. Then it'll structure my document how I want it. Then I can edit. And yeah, they did a handbook on it, and you're like, okay, 90% of this is wrong. It's just wrong.
It's just wrong.
But just be smart.
Mhm.
Just be smart. Use it as a friend. Use it as a tool.
Yeah.
AI can be a tool if you use it wrong. Tool isn't
And
a
if
bad tool,
your
not a good tool.
manager is replacing your job with I mean, well, good luck to them.
Can you imagine? Yeah, it's yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's go to trainer term.
Train or term. It's a good one today. I
Good
don't
one
have my
every
glasses
week.
on, so I'm gonna have to make it bigger before I read it. I'm just gonna jump in, not gonna tell you what the topic is.
Okay,
Ready?
I'm
My
ready.
company produces electronics. A senior executive was recently testing new software on one of our manufacturing machines and left it on all night, which made the machine overheat, melted a few costly components, and left the machine unusable. We must wait 3 weeks for the specialized repair person to fix it, and we have to pay for that person's travel as they are not local. All told, this oversight is costing us at least $75,000, and that's if the repairs run smoothly. The executive who made the mistake has been here for over 20 years and is one of the founding members. He does not have a history of sloppy work, although lately he has been slipping a bit, but the previous mistakes were minor and quickly fixed. I'm not sure if it's time to have a conversation about when it's time to throw in the towel, or if we can trust that this was a big whopper of a mistake and it won't happen again. What should I do next?
That's a good one. And there's a couple of ways to look at this because on my first instinct when you were talking about it was this was an expensive mistake, but that person will never do it again. But then again, if they've been there 20 years, weren't they aware of the repercussions of that mistake or what could happen if you're not, on the ball and doing everything by standard?
Do they frequently? I'm assuming he set the what is it called when you set the program.
Hmm.
Maybe it's common that they leave it going overnight, but this was
Well,
testing new software, so who knows what the
yeah, well, who knows what the actual, it's an expensive electronic piece running software. And my first thought, mind you, going back to a production background and testing things, QCing things,
Mhm.
why did it overheat? Is there something wrong with the product itself? Maybe it needs to run overnight so it doesn't overheat. Is it a clock that needs to be on all the time and so it was on too long and overheated and caught on fire? Maybe that's bad for your product. Maybe you need to fix that.
The
Hmm.
component of the machine melted.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a bad part. Maybe it's not supposed to do that. Maybe it's supposed. There's too many maybes with the parts, but if we don't focus on the part, maybe
Mhm.
look at the expense of fixing things. I know
I
it's
mean,
hard where
$75,000,
it's in.
dollars, even if you're a multi-million dollar company, that's not nothing
Yeah, that's not nothing. That's a whole employee right there.
for a year, right?
Hmm.
And I'm wondering, due to the nature of it, is this something that insurance will cover? Do we not want to tell insurance because then our rates are going to go up? But I believe it's not here, but well, when I read it originally, I just thought this in my mind. Um, what are we telling others? Like the repercussions that this person faces are what everyone else is going to see as well. So we don't want to give the impression that, oh, it was a mistake. You get $75,000. Everything's fine. And then have people think that they can be a little bit sloppy about this stuff.
And it was an executive that did this, right? Who's the executive reporting to? Is it? We don't have an executive. Is it the president of the company that did this? And how do you
I think this person is C-level. I think there's like a group of
in
founding
this
members who are
in the suite? Oh
all
yeah. So
And that's
that's
where I
kind
get
of
hung up.
yeah,
because
exactly.
I feel like it's literally money coming out of his pocket at this point.
Hmm. Like if it was a junior employee, Then you do like a coaching, counseling, training, whatever.
Well,
Again, I don't think they'd ever make that mistake again. I think they would definitely learn their lesson and serve as an example to the rest of the organization. But if it is a C-suite founding member with 20 years experience, it's like, what are you doing?
So I then
yeah.
that also made me think, um, they've been in it for a really long time, and we don't know how old this person is, is the work getting to be too much? Or are we having a conversation about um reducing to part-time, or do we need someone to be checking behind this person? I'm not going to kick a founding member out of the company, but if your mind is not, in the game.
Well, yeah, and depending on the contract, you may not be able to kick him out of the company or her. I don't want to
Mhm.
stereotype if it's a he or she.
Said he.
They're them. It's a he. Oh, come on. It doesn't always have to be a he.
We could pretend this one's a she.
We'll say it's a she. Would your
No, it doesn't
feelings
matter.
change?
So if it was, no, not at all. And this is looking back where I ran safety through, I don't know if there's a product that's being run through a production line or just being tested, whatever it is, looking back at a safety, look at it, there'd be we'd call our committee and say, okay, why did this happen? Is it going to happen again?
Mhm.
And then once we figured out why it happened and if it's repeatable, then we'd make a decision on the employee. So like first, if it's an employee and this is something the employee did, for that amount of money, that person would be gone if it's just a regular employee. Because usually it's set up about monetary value and damage.
Mhm.
That's kind of common in the industry. Um, I don't know if it's some, I just keep thinking back
I
like,
would
okay, we need,
certainly suggest or take it out of any bonus that they were due. I would definitely want to literally dollar for dollar be like, you're not going to get an increase this year, or like whatever it is. I would, whether or not I get that it was a mistake, but it was really more like an oversight mistake. Like it could have been prevented, kind of a mistake. So I think it would be fair to say you're not eligible for your bonus this year.
could be. Could it be preventable though? They shut it off probably when we get on fire. I don't know. I'm still hung up on
What
like
if
the
the whole
product.
place
It's like,
burned? I mean,
well,
there's
then
just
you
like a
then you would
couple
have a
things.
huge claim.
That's what I'm saying though, but like if this was such a, I mean, shit melted.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not that far to say that it was so hot that things were melting. If the whole place had gone up, everybody's out of a job. You have no manufacturing plant.
But we can't really discipline based off of could have happened. We have to focus on what did happen. And
Mhm.
it could have been a
Agreed.
lot worse. But
Yes.
I think we do need to definitely address the snowball effect that was happening here. There were other smaller mistakes and mishaps that were easily fixed, and this one was just a bigger mistake. So we need to investigate, find out why, have that conversation, and maybe it is your head still in the game? Maybe that is the conversation we're having. Since it is a senior team member who's been with the company for so long, and you're right, you can't really fire them, but maybe they could decide they need to be a silent partner for a little bit.
Can smack them around a little bit. And was this person too? We don't know. Was this okay? They did the testing. Were they supposed to be doing the testing? Were they supposed to do anything? And what were they doing? They just walk through and press a button and say, "Oh, look at this is running."
I do wonder why, like, a senior executive is testing the software. I mean, maybe they could have been filling in for someone who was out, or it was their own software that they wrote themselves, so they wanted to like test it themselves. I mean, who knows?
It could be, and we don't know how big this size. We don't have the size of this company, do we? It's like,
We don't. I mean, they gave the figure of $75,000. That's between lost
and that's just the
revenue
cost of
from the
product.
machine
Yeah,
being down, the repairs to the product, and the flying in the person and the travel.
you think it was like an IBM corporation? We have 50,000 people, and $75,000 to that failing is no big deal. They just swap the parts and move on.
So, in my experience with very large companies that are like multi-billion dollar, they're not happy about even $100,000 loss.
No, they're not happy about it, but and traditionally too, they would have, if this is, I don't know, there's so many different variables, like $75,000 fixed. I worked at a production facility. We had, multi-million dollar pieces of equipment, And we had contracts with our company who built them. So if things broke, we called them in and they fixed it contractually, and the contracts were, yeah, hundreds of $1,000s a year, but did that cover the cost of the employee and the parts? Usually. Some years
Oh,
were
like a
closer, some years were better. Yeah,
drivetrain warranty when you get a car.
exactly. The service warranty, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. And so it was great, like little parts, and they did their maintenance on it daily and this and that. So, I mean, it worked out really well.
Yeah, I
And so
think
something, anyway, sorry to go, doctor.
I was going to say that that part I'm also having a hard time with. Like as Dean said, when there's a lot of machinery involved, it's not uncommon to have service contracts. So if you're a software company and this is what you do and you have this equipment that's so expensive, where's your service contract for that? Because I know even in hotels, they do the same thing when it comes to the HVAC system and plumbing and other engineering things that I don't quite understand, that they have service contracts to take care of those so that there's not issues like this. Do we
And
know if this was in
why?
place and why are they paying so much to fly somebody in? Like, I don't know. Maybe I just have too much questions about this one to be able
That's
to
me too.
give.
I'm going on this tangent about, making the safety committee find this. And then why did the software not have a built-in where it shuts off at a certain time? This is just software that's going to run forever. If it runs forever, apparently it's going to make fires. That's not safe.
So it may be a combination of negligence and poor design. So is it truly this employee's fault?
Then we're going to find out it's like a clock and a stuffed animal that
I
did
must
this.
be jaded because I was thinking the opposite, where I was like, if this person is such a senior executive, knows this machine in and out, might have built the machine or helped build it,
Exactly.
and they're running a script that makes it overheat, like what were they overriding the safety features? Because
Could
then
be.
you're the service contract is not going to cover that if you have someone purposefully overriding the features.
But I think too where this C-suite person's running this, is this like a company of three?
Well, we've
Well,
at
you have your
least
person at the
got
front desk, you have your designer, then you have your executive.
maybe it could be a company of three. It said one of the founding members, that could be one of two. And
Yeah,
then
exactly. It could be. Yeah, I
the
don't.
person who
Anyway, we're
typically,
missing a lot of information, and it's funny because we just are we making mountains out of molehills with this?
I mean, if I was the other member or the other founding members and I came into a multi-million dollar machine that was half melted, I'd be like, bro.
Like, what the hell? Well, that's the first thing too. That's why. Wait, so many whys.
So many whys. I think an investigation is definitely needed, but because it is a senior level person with 20 years experience who should have known better, and
Yeah.
it's sounding like it may have been sloppy negligence, I am leaning towards the termination or at least
Hmm.
work them out of that role into a background role.
Yeah, and at least let them know that, hey, you can't be playing on the floor if you're not on the floor. And in a lot of the C-suite, and what's in their contract? Is there something contractually we can actually do? Sometimes we run up against a wall where we're like, oh, you're contracted to this, and we can't do anything unless the board decides what we're going to do.
Yeah. And
Oh,
sometimes
mm.
it's up to the board, not us. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Um, so Liz has investigate, possibly leading to a termination. Dean has safety committee, needs to investigate, and we don't know. We're going to just reassess at that point. And I'm going to say no bonus for you. That's mine.
No soup for you.
Take that right out of his bone. I mean, after what you guys have said, then I would definitely, I mean, it might be a couple, who knows what the person makes, but like I feel like a real thing like that, sometimes people are not going to learn until you really hit them where it hurts. Meaning, you know what? Yeah, that was a big, big mistake. But because you're a founding member, you have part ownership of the firm, I'm assuming. No, we can't terminate you. But I mean, in addition to the lost revenue, I'm assuming is going to harm that person directly. I would be like, and this makes you ineligible for, any bonus you're going to get this year and probably next year too.
And it could be a big mistake, or it could be an expensive find if there's a flaw in the software causing this.
Hmm.
Because if you ship out a whole bunch of product and all of a sudden you have to recall it, recalls are very expensive.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, he wrote the software.
And I don't mean to come off
I
like
bet he. Oh.
Oh,
Oh
go
no, it
ahead.
said
I
he's
bet
testing new software, not that he
he
wrote
had
it.
AI write the software. That's why it caught on fire.
I think maybe he did. It's not
Anyway,
outside
sorry.
the realm of possibility. Yeah, that was a good one. So,
That was a
excuse me,
good one.
Mr. Senior Executive Founding Member, you're in big, big trouble.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I'm quick to term on this one because there was a mistake. I do think that there's learning levels, and that's why I think that if it's a junior employee who's newer and less experienced, that there's more under, maybe it wasn't gross negligence, maybe it was just ignorance or lack of training, lack of experience to be able to understand what to do in that situation versus a senior, somebody with 20 years experience, they should know. They should be aware.
Yeah, there is definitely a different level of expectation. I agree with you. I mean, also like a junior employee who maybe hasn't been there very long does not have investment in this firm.
Well,
So it's like opposite of this guy's best interests to
mhm.
be so casual about this.
Maybe he was upset.
Maybe he already got a bonus denied and that's why he did it.
It was
Oh,
It was
retaliatory.
it was
retaliatory.
retaliatory. And he tried to burn the whole place down. Now we have to bring in the crime scene people.
Right. I mean, then he's an arsonist.
Because didn't that just happen in California? A disgruntled employee over wages burnt down
Oh, there were like
the
nine
toilet
or,
paper
or
factory.
10
Oh,
factory fires. There were a ton.
I missed this
What? You missed it?
completely.
Oh, there was a worker in, yeah, California who set a toilet paper factory on fire on purpose. He said livable wages prevent warehouse fires or something like that. And
Oh,
then
And he
there were a
filmed
bunch of,
it.
and he filmed it. There were a bunch of copycats all over. We had one right here in New Jersey.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. What
Completely
guy?
missed that. I'm gonna have to Google it now.
Oh, I'm going to be sending you some TikToks. Don't, well, I don't know if you want to Google it. Maybe if we just talk amongst the phones, they'll show it to you because if you Google it, they might think
Oh, that's a good
you might
point.
get put on a list.
We'll see what the algorithm pops up in my feed.
Right. Kimberly Clark was, I think, the warehouse.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
I think we
All
are.
right, remember, AI is not your friend.
Yeah.
And don't set things on fire. That's the
Please don't.
No, don't set things on fire. Whatever you do.
okay.
Talk
And
with
if
your
you have
boss
a
if you need more
fire,
money. You don't
Hmm.
need to burn down buildings.
yeah. Yeah, hopefully you have that. Yes, you need a boss you can talk to. If
Hmm.
you need help putting out fires, as in HR fires, contact us. Like that segue, pretty good.
That was a
Nice.
good segue.
Solutions at hrservicing.com or 833-685-8400, extension 2. We get a live body. Could be one of us. You never know. Remember, we are HR Service Unscripted, right? We're on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe.